Beaverbank area for us to get a handle on assessments, for us to do something for our aging population. We've got an aging population throughout the province of Nova Scotia, which I'm not a member yet of, but I'll soon be there.
I've seen you play hockey. You're getting old.
I'll soon be there. But we certainly need some facilities, not only for our aging, but for our youth and for people in general. And on that note, I want to thank everyone. I want to give special thanks to my NDP colleagues for their support, for those who have been around for a long time. And I know that without that support and that encouragement, who knows what I might have been home now saying what if. And so with that, I'll take my seat. Thank you.
Thank you. The chair now recognizes the honourable member from Dartmouth North.
Hear, hear, hear.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is indeed an honor to be here today, to be amongst some of the people that have fought the battles on behalf of this province and the people of this province over the last several years. I think, as my colleague and honourable member from Pictou Centre had said yesterday, that I too indeed follow in big footsteps and shoes. Former MLA Jerry Pye. Who? former MLA Jerry Pye has risen to the challenge over the last several years. 20 years fully in politics for the representing the area of Dartmouth North. And today, indeed, I am honored to assume that role and to fulfill the needs of this constituency. For a young man such as myself, it is indeed an honor to know that so many people support you through an effort like this. And I must say that when you first step out on the campaign trail, I guess the thing that really hits you is that you see your name on the side of a street, or you see your name on someone's property. It's a wow factor. I'm really out there. It's letting people know that you really, truly want to help people. And then you take that next step of visiting someone and knocking on a door. And in the early days, it's kind of hectic, and you're not sure what kind of a result you're going to get. And early on, some of it wasn't good. But once people spoke with you and gave you the time to understand that you truly do want to help, you want to listen to them and see their needs and see to the best of their needs and getting them what they want, what they truly want. I have been blessed to be supported by a community over the years who have seen the initiative and the energy and the passion in my fight for people as a community activist. I have been chairman for the District 9 Citizens Association for the last 2 years. I have sat as vice chair at the local community center. I have been partnershiped in a business. I have managed a large corporation as well. And through these ventures, this community has said to me in this last election that we know you truly represent the needs of this community, that you truly care and want to help the families and the children and the seniors of this riding. I say this humbly, that I'm hoping that this is a long venture for me into politics, into representing this province. Dartmouth North, over the years, has received much credibility, but a lot of negativity as well. And a lot of this, I believe, is due to poor planning. 60% of our community is made up and comprised of multi-unit dwellings. We have older established homeowners throughout the Tufts Cove area, the Wrights Cove area, Creighton Park area. Areas that families have flourished over the years, and we're talking homes and homeowners that have been there and instilled and built the foundations for 35, 45, 50 years. And despite the negativity, the crime rates, they have chosen to stay there and put their holdings down. They have said, we love Dartmouth North. We just need help. It's unfortunate that 60% of this multi-unit situation as far as planning, allows or disallows a sense of community. We have several boarded up buildings in the Pinecrest and Brule Street area, which breeds both negativity as far as crime rates and the social feelings of those people that reside in and around those areas. I'm hoping that one of my goals will be accomplished in the coming years to rid ourselves of that situation, to bring a positive light on this community. And it is a sore spot because unfortunately throughout HRM and around this province we are judged by that very situation of low poverty, boarded up buildings, the negativity that surrounds that social situation. We have a unique community that has spoken out and has taken its time to let elected officials know that they want to change. We have one of the best neighborhood watch programs. We have a local good newspaper, the Dartmouth North Echo, along with the District 9 Citizens Association, which meets regularly on a monthly basis to inform our elected officials as to what's going on and what are their ongoing concerns. We have one of the largest industrial parks east of Montreal, the Burnside Industrial Park. Many small businesses, large businesses, and this area is growing with the new addition of the Dartmouth North Crossing, which I believe will finally put Dartmouth into the forefront of being a destination place in HRM. For many years, much of our communities have had to travel across the bridge for the bigger needs, the bigger, larger movie theaters, the larger retail shops. And what the Dartmouth Crossings will bring, again, is a destination place, not only for our community, but for people that will travel across the province to see exactly what we are trying to accomplish. In yesterday's throne speech, there was made mention of the Commonwealth Games. Last November, I, on behalf of District 9, had hosted a town hall meeting along with MP Mike Savage in regards to the Commonwealth Games. One of the things that had taken place over the years in Dartmouth North is that many programs, be it social, political, have been thrust upon this community without asking what the citizens actually want. And we took it upon ourselves last November to bring the chairman, Mr. Fred McGilvery, to bring Mike Savage, MP, to our community and ask our citizens, do we need this, do we want this, and why? And I have to say that with 150 people that resided that night during our community center, it was overwhelming, the response that the people had said. We need these games. A large part of what will take place and what is required to host the Commonwealth Games will take place in Dartmouth North. And I must tell you that through my travels on the campaign trail, a lot of the subject was in and around youth, and not just youth crime. I'm a former national champion athlete with the Dartmouth Moosehead Dry baseball team, and I can tell you that traveling across Canada, one of the things that we lack is the sporting infrastructure, the facilities to host some of these national games, to bring people not only from across Canada and across this province, but from around the world. And I think indeed we have to pursue this and make sure that all three levels of government are consistent in their efforts to host and support the people of this province in this venture. I think Dartmouth North can only gain from the facilities. I look around, and as a young man growing up in Lower Sackville, at the time when Sackville was growing so large and it was saying, I want to be a town, I want to be a town, I want to be a city. And I look at all the facilities and infrastructure that I had around me, and I've been very fortunate. The coaching. And I must tell you, I'm a little dismayed at Dartmouth North right now and the lack of funding that has come into our area. And I think the Commonwealth Games will bode well, not just for our children, but our children's futures, my children's futures, and seniors as well. 4% right now of our population in Dartmouth North is comprised of seniors. And it's unfortunate because our seniors have no place to go anymore. And one of the things that I said that night to Mr. McGilvery and Mr. Savage was that some of the legacy that's possibly left over after these games will indeed be an opportunity for seniors housing. With the new infrastructure that will come and take place in and around the Shannon Park area, with the new ferry service, the increased transit systems, I think it would be fabulous to see some of these sporting athlete facilities become and be turned into seniors housing. I must say that along the campaign trail, I've been privileged, again, to step on doorsteps, to be welcomed into homes, and to listen to subjects that, to come out of Dartmouth North, really surprised me. A topic such as wind power coming out of Dartmouth North really intrigued me, and it was on a weekly basis. I'd have 3 or 4 phone calls, people wanting to meet with me and discuss wind power and the possibilities of benefits to local citizens and to businesses. And I would only hope that the present government would look further into the advantages of wind power. And it's unfortunate that I live in a community and my constituency office is adorned by Nova Scotia Power, who has created a monopoly. To those people, I will meet again and discuss further the possibilities of wind power in the coming weeks. And I only hope that I have an opportunity in this House to express the concerns and the benefits further on. I must say that Dartmouth North, again, is a proud community. Yes, we have troubles, there are negativities, but it is a community that is growing. More and more people are coming into this community, more and more citizens, despite the fact that there is a lack of sense of community due to the 60% multi-unit dwellings. We have people that care. We have people that have spoken out in the last few years in regards to development such as the Brightwood Golf Course. I myself had joined the citizens for Brightwood in asking the developers and the planning department to simply sit with us and discuss the future of our communities. And as elected officials, it is our role and responsibility to listen to those concerns. And as the HRM Council seen fit, the development did not go ahead. And I think the development didn't go ahead because the planning department simply lacked some foresight. The citizens seen the issues, and it will come up again. That land should be developed, but the citizens have spoken out, and I, along with them, have said, listen to our voices. We have a stake in our community. We have a present situation as well with a local businessman who has taken up stake and come into our community on a loophole, on an outdated act of government. Mr. Javis Roberts and his efforts in establishing the Sensations Cabaret has been a thorn in our side. It's been a slap in our face. And even though he got in on a technicality, again, more residents had formed another group to speak out. And as an elected official in this area, it gives me great pride to see that citizens do care. We do care, and we have a voice in these concerns. As an elected official, I am frustrated that loopholes such as these are created for businessmen who do not want or see the needs of a community, who only see that there is a tax dollar and monies to be gained. All in total, again, I hope that all levels of government and this current government can work together to better the citizens, to better this province. And I've been fortunate because I've not only lived in Dartmouth North, I grew up in and around the Peggy's Cove, Westover area. I grew up in Lower Sackville, and I've traveled throughout this province. And many of the faces that I've met here in the last couple days, I can relate because I've been in their areas. And for someone that is young and aspiring to continue in the political field, I think that it gives me great pride to know that I can sit and speak and be consistent in my efforts and be cooperative with fellow ministers and honorable members to accomplish the needs of this province. Dartmouth North has provided me with an opportunity. And for the last 12 years, I have spent in the grocery industry. And on June 7th, the Chronicle Herald had called our campaign office and asked me a question. And they said, "You do not have a traditional background of a politician." I said, "No, I don't. I am not a doctor, nor I'm a lawyer." Or a school teacher. And the question was then posed to me, how do you feel you are at the same level as these few people. And I stated simply that I was in the service industry. And for 12 years, in and around this community of Dartmouth North, I have shown the people how hard I can work, the energy and the passion for causes. And I want to continue that because they have given me the voice. They have allowed me and shown me through an election process that they need me to represent them. And I hope that in the coming years, I can broach and cross bridges to fulfill the needs of this community, the concerns and needs of this province. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for this time.
Thank you. The chair now recognizes the honourable member from Halifax Citadel.
Halifax Citadel. Well, I seem to have fallen into the pit. Mr. Speaker, honourable members, in June 1968, my mother wrote a letter to the Toronto Star, and a columnist, Sidney Katz, published that letter. And a 14-year-old boy, Donald Drutz, read the letter and convinced his mother, Evelyn, to sponsor my father, and she did. And that's how my family of 12 found its way to Canada. So 38 years later, I stand before you as the MLA for Halifax Citadel, and perhaps the first Asian Canadian elected east of Quebec. It's a great honor and a privilege to be here. I mention this fact more as a tribute to the self-sacrifice and vision of my parents who brought me to this place, and also to the kindness and generosity of strangers who make Halifax and Nova Scotia such a wonderful place to call home. I'd also like to use this occasion to pay tribute to the great Nova Scotians who've sat in this seat before me. Robert Stanfield, Terry Donahue, Alexa McDonough, Danny Graham, and in particular I want to speak a bit about Danny Graham and the wonderful service he performed in such difficult times over the past few years. And also as his successor here, and it's the first occasion to speak to this in this House, I'd like to offer our condolences on the death of his wife Sheila, and more recently his mother Jean. And also to Peter Delafus, who along with Alexa laid such a strong foundation for social democracy in Halifax Citadel. I may not always follow in their footsteps, but I will seek what they sought, a better world, a better community in Halifax Citadel and in Nova Scotia. I'd also like to acknowledge my opponents who ran in Halifax Citadel, Bill Black, Devin Maxwell, and Nick Wright. Unlike the campaign elsewhere in Nova Scotia, I think they ran a campaign with a great deal of integrity, a campaign focused on values, and I commend them for the campaign they ran. I have a whole new respect. I have a whole new respect for people who offer public service, and especially for those who lose, and lose with a lot of dignity. I also have to thank the Premier for giving us 9 months to run that campaign in Halifax Citadel. It gave us a great deal of time to consult with the voters, and I'd like to take some of the time that I have remaining to speak to some of the issues that they raised during the campaign. Throughout the campaign, I met with single mothers and people in low income who would like to go to universities, who would like to get their degrees because they know that that is the only way out of their desperate situation, but they can't, they can't register because they're not allowed to enroll in programs that take longer than 2 years. I met a single mother last week who wanted to go to university, but she couldn't get a loan or grant because her parents were supposed to contribute, and they were just not able to do so. I've spoken with student groups, the Canadian Association of Student Associations, for example, the Canadian Federation of Students, and we get the same request from them that we do something about access to post-secondary education. It's a shame that 40% of our students who are qualified don't go to university or post-secondary education because they don't have the resources to get them there. We believe that access to education should be based more on merit and what's in people's heads and not what's in their wallets. I met seniors who are waiting in hospital beds, seniors who are separated from their loved ones because we don't have access to long-term care or we don't have access to suitable home care. And I applaud the Premier for saying that he's going to do something about that. And I'm looking forward to seeing what concrete measures that they have to offer. It's a desperate situation for our seniors in Halifax Citadel, and we've had a lot of talk, but not enough action. My constituency, Halifax Citadel, also includes one of the most beautiful places in Nova Scotia, the Northwest Arm. And it's being destroyed by infilling. And it's being destroyed in large part because the province says that below the high water mark is the responsibility of the federal government, and above the responsibility is above the high water mark is the responsibility of municipalities. In other words, it's a complete abdication of responsibilities, Mr. Speaker, and we need to do something about it. We need to ensure that future generations have access to the shoreline, that things that we've had for 200 years or over 200 years on the Northwest Arm are not lost just on blind greed and the drive to privatize that beautiful space. We believe that from Sable Island to the south end, that we are stewards of this great constituency, and we have an obligation to protect it for ourselves and for future generations. Throughout the campaign, Mr. Speaker, I met many people from the arts and cultural communities who were concerned about the destruction of the Arts Council as an arm's-length agency. We believe that the Premier has an obligation, as someone who played a part in its destruction, to restore it as an arm's-length agency. Hear, 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 hear. We believe that grants should be based more on merit and artistic merit and not on political patronage. Throughout the campaign, we met young artists who are desperate for creative spaces, young and emerging artists who are doing wonderful work, who are leaving this province to go elsewhere because there is no space and no program to incubate and nurture their talent. In Halifax Citadel, we're very concerned about the preservation of neighborhoods and communities. Earlier today, we introduced a resolution asking the government to consider imposing a moratorium on school closures. We believe that these elementary schools are at the heart of these communities, and closing them will destroy them. We believe, we have heard, thank you. We received complaints throughout the campaign from people who find that there's too much street racing. They believe that we need to do something about aftermarket mufflers and just the quiet enjoyment of their neighborhoods. That too many heritage homes are being taken over by rooming houses, and we need health and safety standards, and we need enforcement so that neighborhoods are not destroyed. In the last 2 weeks, we've heard numerous complaints and throughout the campaign about home assessments, about the arbitrariness of home assessments, about the lack of the ability to appeal home assessments, that young families and seniors are being forced to move out of their homes because home assessments have no connection to the cost of living or the degree of services provided. And it's particularly galling to these people that home assessments continue to rise, and yet the province is starving these programs, school programs of art and music and gym. In short, Mr. Speaker, the 8 months that the Premier has given us to campaign in Halifax Citadel has given us an opportunity to understand the needs of this constituency. They've been without representation for a long time, and these issues have gone on for too long. In summary, we believe that my constituents are telling me, and that we have an obligation to respect our heritage and our obligations to the generations that went before, and that we have to know where we're going and respect our obligations as stewards for future generations. And again, I appreciate very much the opportunity to represent the people here in Halifax Citadel. Like my colleagues on this side of the House, we intend to make this a very constructive, a very progressive session that will address progressive but not necessarily conservative. And I intend to use this assembly and this great opportunity to address these needs, to make minority government work, and certainly, first and foremost, to make Nova Scotia and our community a better place. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Pardon me?
Mr. Speaker, I move adjournment of debate at this time.
Okay. The motion is for adjournment of the debate. Would all those in favor of the motion please say aye? Aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion is carried. The Government House Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would now move that the House do adjourn until Tuesday, July the 4th, when the House would meet from the hours of 1 o'clock in the afternoon to the hours of 6 o'clock in the afternoon. The order of business would be the budget address, responses to the budget address, the daily routine question period, and of course, Mr. Speaker, potential continuation if there are further members to speak on the speech from the throne motion. With that, Mr. Speaker, we move adjournment.
Thank you. The motion is carried. We stand adjourned until Tuesday at 1 p.m.
Hold on.